So, Oman is going all in on the digital future. I mean, they're pouring billions into their tech infrastructure, rolling out 5G networks, the whole nine yards. And honestly, it's a story we're seeing all over the world, right? A classic tale of progress.
But hang on, because right in the middle of all this tech-fueled progress, Oman is hitting the brakes and asking a much deeper, more profound question. A question that goes way beyond just, connectivity. It gets to the very soul of a nation.
All right, let's really break this down, because the difference here is huge. You see, while most of the world is asking the technical question, what should we digitize? What services, what records? Oman is asking a totally different question. They're asking the ethical question. How should we behave in this new digital space? It's a massive shift, moving from just logistics to character.
So, what's Oman's answer to this massive challenge? Well, it's a really powerful and, frankly, unique concept they call cultural security.
And we need to be super clear about what this means, okay? Cultural security. It's not some defensive wall they're building. It's a proactive, ethical framework. See, the goal isn't just to block out the bad stuff. It's about actively building a digital world that celebrates and strengthens the nation's core values.
And this is where it gets really interesting, especially when you compare it to something we all know, cybersecurity. Think about it. Cybersecurity is defensive. It's technical. It's all about protecting data and servers. But cultural security? That's proactive and ethical. It's about protecting national identity and values. So one protects the machine, the other protects the soul of the nation.
And this really gets to the heart of their whole philosophy. For Oman, culture isn't some dusty artifact you look at in a museum. No way. It's a living, breathing bridge that links the past with the present, and it's what gives people that sense of belonging. The big challenge, then, is making sure that bridge is just as solid in the virtual world as it is in the real world.
Okay, so a big philosophy's great, but how do you actually make it happen, right? Because it's one thing to have an idea and a whole other thing to put it into practice. Well, Oman has laid out some really clear principles for its digital citizens. They've basically created a new set of rules of engagement for the online world.
And it really boils down to three key pillars. First, any digital content has to line up with authentic Omani values and character. Simple as that. Second, you've got to be honest and consistent. Your online self can't be some totally different person from your real-world self. And third, and this is a big one, everything you do online has to be grounded in respect. Respect for the community, for privacy, and for the truth.
This quote really just sums it all up perfectly. The idea here is that what truly defines an Omani isn't just a name or a location, it's their character, a character known for wisdom, tolerance, and, well, nobility. And that is what should come first online, before anything else.
And here's why this entire strategy is so important. Oman gets a fundamental truth about the internet that I think we often forget. Digital platforms are not neutral. They are, and this is a great phrase, incubators for taste and guides of thought. They are actively shaping what we like and how we think. And here's the kicker. If you don't intentionally fill that space with your own culture, you can bet another one will rush in to fill the void.
Now you might be thinking, wow, that's a lot of pressure on the individual. But here's the thing. It's not a burden for people to carry all by themselves. It's actually framed as a shared mission for the whole society. And that means the media and the community have huge roles to play.
So, the media, we're talking traditional and digital, they have a really vital job here. They have to make sure their content isn't just generic global stuff. The national message has to be spoken, written, and produced using the real, authentic vocabulary of that culture.
So you can basically think of the media's job here in 3 steps. Step 1. They actively inject real Omani context and even dialect into what they create. Step 2. They act as a safeguard against that sort of cultural watering down that can happen with so much generic global content out there. And step 3, they use their platforms to actively reinforce that national identity. They're essentially the curators of the nation's digital soul.
And listen, this isn't just some top-down order from the government. Not at all. The government is actively trying to build trust by engaging with people. For instance, in the Al-Barami region, the governor's office uses social media and other digital channels to actually get public feedback on local projects. It turns cultural preservation from an order into a shared mission, one that's built on real collaboration.
So when you take a step back and look at this whole thing, you really have to wonder,
Is Oman creating a blueprint for the future? I mean, as we see so many other nations struggling with the messy social fallout of technology, this idea of proactive, ethical governance, well, it starts to look like a pretty powerful alternative.
And really, this is the core idea, the big takeaway. Oman's entire approach suggests that the true measure of a successful digital transformation, it's not about your network speeds or how many people are online. It's about the depth and the strength of the nation's character.
Which brings us to this really powerful final image. We usually think of a firewall as a piece of tech, right? A piece of software. But what Oman is building, it's a human firewall. It's a firewall built not from code, but from the very bedrock of its national identity, wisdom, tolerance, and respect.
And that leaves us all with one final big question to think about. In this hyper-connected world we all live in, maybe a nation's strongest, most resilient defense isn't its technology at all, but its values.